Seasonal horror, holiday horror, what have you, are a great way to set the spooky mood for any major holiday. New Year's Evil, My Bloody Valentine, Leprechaun, April Fool's Day, Bunny Man, Uncle Sam, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Black Christmas, Friday the 13th, there's a ton to choose from. Many fans of the genre, myself included, love to incorporate seasonal horror films into their list of annual rewatches. Hell, I've been making it an effort to have a Halloween-a-thon every October since 2019. Every Halloween movie, in release order, even the ones I'm not so fond of. It's one of those dumb but sincere things that the horror community typically will participate in. Being February upon the release of this video, of course many of us are going to be watching the Valentine's Day usual suspects. George Mihalko's My Bloody Valentine, Patrick Lussier's My Bloody Valentine 3D, Jamie Blank's Valentine. Hey, I even know someone who does Don Mancini and Ronnie Yu's Bride of Chucky every February. Whatever works to put you in the loving and appreciative mood this holiday, or any holiday in retrospect. Of course, I try to watch the 80s and the 2000s remake for My Bloody Valentine around this time of the year. There's one other holiday horror slasher that has first priority as my pick for Valentine's Day. Gorman Bechard's Psychos in Love.
And I was like so many of them.
Love each other so we're just so doggone happy.
We're sick with crazy we're lunatics, not fit for society.
So we're sick, we're crazy, we're lunatics, not fit for society. Cause we are psychos in love, we can't help ourselves. Psychos in love, we are psychos in love. Never felt this way about anyone else, we are psychos. Psychos in love.
In this video essay, we'll briefly go over some choice films in Bechard's filmography before we bring it back to 1987, where we discuss just what makes Psychos in Love so fantastic and beloved by both horror and comedy fans alike. Gorman's first film came out in 1984, a unique spin on the slasher subgenre titled Disconnected. It starts out fair game for slashers. You've got stalking, slashing, an innocent but likable female lead, an antagonistic force trying to outwit the killer, but it slowly devolves into the realm of psychological horror, seeping into not only the lead actress's mind, but the viewers as well. It's a great watch that, although not as over the top, has similar writing to Psychos in Love, and it's without a doubt one of the better shot micro-budget horror films of the 80s. In '87, Psychos in Love came out, but again, we'll come back to this one shortly. This is when renowned, or infamous, I'll leave that up to whoever, horror giant Charles Band of Full Moon Features fame started to produce Bechard's next three films, Psychos in Love being one of the three, followed by Galactic Gigolo and Cemetery High. Now, to my knowledge, Psychos had very little influence from Band's end, but Gigolo and Cemetery, he was more involved, particularly in post-production with butchering the films in the editing and coloring process. And as a result, Bechard to this day completely disowns and disassociates himself from these two works. And for respect for the man himself, I will move on. After an absence from the cult film scene and a beginning of his career as an author, Bechard would return to work on some smaller drama films throughout the 2000s, before drawing his focus into the documentary making world. His documentaries range from covering rock musicians, dogs and animal rights cases, and even pizza. I've admittedly only seen two of his documentaries, A Dog Named Gucci and Pizza, A Love Story. A Dog Named Gucci will break your heart and make you question why humans deserve dogs in the first place, whereas Pizza, A Love Story is a comforting look at a slice of northeastern pizza culture. It's really fascinating stuff. Except for that segment on Chicago-style pizza. That one really hurt Mr. Bechard.
I kill people.
I don't believe it.
What?
Me too.
Get out of here, really?
Really? I'm not kidding. Who do you kill?
Women at random.
I kill men. At random.
I simply adored in behind-the-scenes interviews on the film that Bechard appeared to be still so fond and proud of his work on Psychos in Love. And he absolutely should be. I remember the first time watching it, there were certain scenes that had me cracking up, something I rarely do, even in other comedies that I find to be hilarious.
It is a piece of wood with cheese on it.
A bird with cheese on it.
Cheese board?
Cheese board. Is it cheeseboard?
That is what I say.
Psychos in Love follows two serial killers, Joe and Kate, falling in love in a weirdly traditional rom-com style, sans all the slaughter. After brief mishaps with other suitors, John and Kate lay eyes on each other and quickly fall in love based not only on their murderous tendencies, but their passion-fueled hatred for...
I found out she liked grapes. I hate grapes. I can't stand grapes.
I loathe grapes, all kinds of grapes. I hate purple grapes, I hate green grapes, I hate grapes with seeds, I hate grapes without seeds.
I hate grapes in bunches, one at a time, or in groups of 2s and 3s.
I fucking hate grapes.
Yes, you heard them right. It doesn't matter if it's in juice, wine, or jam format, just the regular plain old-fashioned fruit, grapes. We're tagging along with the couple as they tackle their problems both in regards to the murdering and everyday problems people in relationships experience. Jealousy, a loss of focus on their love and affection towards each other, hell, the movie even ends with them arguing with each other on where they want to eat.
You knew that.
What about Chinese food?
We just had Chinese food a couple of scenes back.
A couple? It was scene 20, it's scene 62.
So it's 42 scenes back.
Well, it's not a couple of scenes.
I don't want Chinese food.
Fine, we won't have Chinese food.
Good, because I don't want
What
it.
do you want?
Drawing inspiration from the likes of Groucho Marx, Charlie Chaplin, and Woody Allen, Psychos in Love is zany, slapstick, and very much meta and self-aware. It recognizes the inherent ludicrous nature not necessarily of the slasher subgenre itself, but more so of the many unintentionally funny horror movies that were coming out at the time, and not that there's anything wrong with that. It makes up its own rules on comedy blended with horror, and gets utterly ridiculous but in a very smart and punk-esque style of presenting the nature of what I would argue are two of the hardest genres to truly master when it comes to filmmaking. No disrespect to the late great Wes Craven, but I personally declare this to be the first truly meta slasher, almost a full decade before the release of 1996's Scream. Bichard lets us know in interviews that it's definitely a comedy first, and there's no disagreeing with that, but that doesn't dismiss a good display of guerrilla-style bloody effects. There's a gradual increase in the special effects, from simple slashes and stabbings early on to chopped up body parts, to an outright gory, gutsy, and very self-aware aftermath of a kill as we approach the end of the film. Considering the tiny budget and all, it seriously is some impressive work the way Bichard films certain shots, and for others, he shows us that sometimes simplicity is all you need for a satisfying kill. I simply cannot go any further without mentioning the two halves to our cute couple of killers. Joe, played by Bichard's close friend and frequent collaborator, Carmine Capobianco, and Kate, played by Bichard's girlfriend at the time, Debbie Theobald. Carmine also co-wrote the script and composed the score for the film, including the catchy and iconic theme song. He was given the lyrics before making any instrumentals, and told to just do something that would sound wacky and stand out, something that'll get into people's heads. And he delivers, as sampled earlier. Carmine performed and helped create Bichard's other cult films, before taking a break in the 90s from acting. He makes further appearances in some other, rather sleazy B-horror films in the 2000s and onwards. Carmine unfortunately passed away to a strenuous battle with cancer in January of 2021. Rest in peace to a very memorable and beloved individual within the cult horror community. Debbie's film credits are much smaller than Carmine's, only starring in the band-produced Bichard films, as well as assisting in the wardrobe department for two of them. But that doesn't stop her from delivering an iconic performance alongside her companion actor. These two personalities in the film, a kind of dorky but in a charismatic sort of way bar owner, with a spunky and tomboyish manicurist, how many horror films star that as the killer, bounce back and forth between each other perfectly. They work very well with Bichard's comedic style and provide the audience with many laughs to be had. Psychos in Love provides us with something truly unique from the horror comedies of the time in that it's aged surprisingly well compared to other films. If you can get past the hurdle that comes with B-horror of the era, the super cheap but creative filmmaking, the raunchy and sleazy humor at times, and trust me, this one isn't nearly as offensive as some other films of the era, and just grasp the over-the-top direction and vision Bichard had for this film, I can guarantee you some genuine laughs and a good time. It's a film that deserves to be played alongside other Valentine's Day horror films, and I hope with all that's being said, you'll give it a try this February. What's going on, boys? Thank you so much for sticking around to the end of the video. I also just wanted to quickly shout out to Gorman Bouchard and just thank you so much for letting me use the audio for this video. I just think without it, people can't really grasp and kind of get a feel for the comedy and the humor in this film. So thank you again for letting me use the audio. I really appreciate it. Some upcoming projects I have planned. This is the year. I'm gonna watch the entirety of the Leprechaun franchise. I've only seen a few of them, but I'm gonna watch them all. I'm gonna kind of just give a brief summary on each film and just kind of give an overall general thoughts on the franchise itself. I want to talk about Vinegar Syndrome. They're my favorite Blu-ray distributor currently, and just the importance of kind of the films they're preserving and the work that they do. So we're gonna definitely be doing a video on them. Smaller stuff in between, you know, the movie reviews, vlogs, stuff like that. You bet I'm going to be covering Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey when that comes out soon. But yeah, thank you so much for sticking around. If you could like, subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and comment above all things. Let's talk movies in the comments. But thank you so much, everybody. I'll see you guys next time.